Hello, hello. Welcome back to Trading Weekly once again. We are on the 9th of August. How are you doing, Kay?
Happy Sunday to everybody. I'm doing great, man. How are you? It's can't believe it's already August, right? It's
I
like
know it's incredible, and it's still warm in the UK. I don't think we've ever, at least in my lifetime, ever had a summer just like this. I mean, I'm sitting here, it's 25 degrees outside, which is Celsius. You
yeah.
might think that's freezing over there, but yeah, it's a welcome treat. It really is, but it does make sleeping very difficult sometimes. But that's how it goes. Our houses are not built for heat, and we're not built for that kind of extreme heat, at least anyway, on a consistent basis. But yeah, not too bad.
I mean, we have the same issue over here, at least in the East Coast side. We have been having temperatures close to 90 plus, and it's hot.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and then combine that with thunderstorms, so it's like it gets humid as well. So even at like a 90-degree Fahrenheit with humidity is just like it's just very muggy.
Yeah, I
But
know how that
it'd be
feels.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So how's the
So as
trading?
always, sorry, my trading week, yeah, very good. I have opened up a little bit of a couple of positions actually. I've done one in, I've already forgotten what it is. I've got it here on the screen. QCOM, which we're going to go through a bit later on, of course. It's my pick of the week. Your pick is now, is that right?
Service now, yes.
Yeah, service now. We'll go through that a bit later on, of course. And I've done a little bit of a position in SpaceX, a very small position, just saw it ride up on Friday, caught it halfway through, which is nice. Just saw that 25% short float, and I thought, okay, this could move. So just took a small position, bit of a not a YOLO one. I think there's a bit of education in there in a way, kind of momentum type thing. But essentially, it is a YOLO call. Let's be honest. But yeah, not too bad. I'm kind of managing my JP Morgan position, which seems like I've kind of been repeating that week after week. But of course, it's a big position, so I just want to kind of continue that momentum. How about UK? How's your trading been this week?
I think trading was pretty good. I would say the second half of the week. I think one of the most of my because I was selling options in this scenario, so most of them were I opened them midweek. So I had like four trades: SpaceX, I had AMD, I had Meta, and I had forget the fourth one, CoreWeave. All four of them
Ah,
expired. Yeah, all four of them expired worthless. So yeah, I mean it's doing pretty well, honestly.
just another week. Nice. Obviously, if you've been here before, you know the routine. But of course, we're just a couple of guys looking at charts, giving our thoughts and perspectives. So none of it's financial advice. It's just something we love to do week in, week out. Of course, put your stock ticker requests in the comments. We've got a couple already from Man Ram once again. Welcome back. Datadog, CBRS, and Palantir. CBRS would be an interesting one. We had that a couple of weeks
Yeah,
ago.
just can you keep it on because I don't see in my chat. Let me just write it down.
Okay. We've lost visual for K. There you go.
All right, let's
Yeah,
go.
got that one. And then we've
Yeah.
got another one here from Zovia, which I don't think I recognise that name. So welcome aboard. Sorry if you have been here before. I've just not remembered that name. I'm pretty good at remembering things. So hopefully, yes, we've got Tesla, Coin, SpaceX, and Snow. I actually took a trade in Snow this past week. I was mentioning to Kay before the market open before the stream started, and went really, really well. And we've got Iron as well from
Yep.
50/50.
I'm starting to get those
You're
updates.
seeing them now.
Yeah.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, then we'll move on to the. Actually, no, we'll say thank you very much for Wolf for powering the stream. We really appreciate it as always. And I think we've got all of that covered. Let's move into the slideshow. Obviously, we've got all the usual gump on the screen there. Our picks of the week is QCOM and Now, but we'll get straight into it. You know how it runs now. And if you don't, it's on the screen there ready for you now. Let me just take away at the bottom there. Awesome. Right. First up on the screen is the market overview for last week. Very positive. It is 1 week, is it, Kay?
It is.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's mad. Good numbers. We've got video up almost 15%, 13%. Microsoft up 11, Meta about 9, Apple and Google floating around 2, 3. Same with Amazon. Tesla over there on the far right, up 6%. What's your main takeaway from this chart?
I do think that the second half things just changed altogether. I think we were still in that kind of like fear neutral territory. Now we are in greed, and that's why I said the second half really improved the whole mechanics. Also, I think what happened was because the job numbers were not as great, so which means that the chances of increasing the interest rate, that's not going to happen. But see, we talked about this before. See, all these are just ways of, okay, this is the reason why we will not increase the interest rate. But bottom line is that you are not going to increase the interest rate because it's an election year. Because the moment you'll increase the rate, market is going to get hit. and it's too late in the game for the market to recover, at least from a mindset standpoint, and you don't want to get caught up losing some votes. That's basically the story behind, which nobody's gonna they'll pretend not to say that, but that's how it works.
Either way, our positions are looking pretty good as long as they're going, long positions, they're looking pretty good. Short positions aren't looking too good at the moment. And we'll move on to the charts in a bit. But before we do that, we will move on to the fear and greed index as always. Last week we were sitting at 45, so we have gone up quite a considerable amount. Monday and Tuesday were really nice days. Wednesday was a little bit of a pullback day. Thursday, Friday, kind of continued that move upwards, which on the chart looks interesting. But do you want to speak to the stuff on the left side of the screen there, Kay?
I think the most important factor is the put to call ratio, because these numbers, they reflect the 5 days average. So last week when we reported was 0.88, which means a lot more put options were being opened, right? Within the last 3 days, we dropped zero point 0.2, right? So it dropped from 0.88 to 0.68. This is the general average. It stays when the market remains bullish. It all just is giving you a trend at how the market is thinking about it. They are a little bit more bullish right now, so a lot more call options are being open. And I think if you some of the tickers that we have are going to talk about, like iron, for example. And the reason iron, it's not that iron is interesting because they are reporting earnings next week. It's actually CoreWeave that's reporting earnings. But anyways, if the narrative starts to come back into, and these other companies start showing strength, you'll have all the names in the same category are going to move. We
Yeah,
do have CPI and PPI, which I don't see that going to be the main story here. I think the main story that I think may happen is some sort of an announcement on the US Iran. Because, see, we are already in the mid August now. You're getting into September and October. You technically have, what, 60 days, maybe 85 days, you need to solve that. And I think for the administration, they need to solve this sooner than later. They cannot let it drag into September, October. It's too late for things to turn around. So they
yeah.
will. And if, let's say, if there's some sort of like an announcement happens where, like, we are done, all set, everything is back to normal, I think that is going to push the stock market, at least in the short term. uh, all the names are going to go up.
Yeah, we saw a bit of positive price action on Tuesday or Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, sorry, from following up from some of those comments that Trump made on previous weekend.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine what will happen if it is actually a done deal. I thought we might get something this weekend actually, but hasn't been. Unless I've missed it.
I mean, the
It
weekend is
hasn't
not
seemed to have
over.
surfaced. Is that well exactly right? Yeah. I can't remember what else I was going to mention. So yeah, of course, CPI, PPI, they will have reaction in the market. They just always do. They've increased volatility, especially around that sort of release time. And that's Tuesday and Thursday this week, respectively. Got a few more tickers on the screen there, Kay. I don't know if you caught those.
So I'm catching.
Make sure to write that ones down. But yeah, interesting times at the moment. Obviously, with that, we'll move on to the next slide. Earnings does continue, although it is becoming a little bit quieter now. We've got some big, interesting names that people seem to like within the industry. We've obviously got Rocket Lab, AST, Space Mobile, and over here on the left, I am at the moment. HIMS as well, I think is quite a highly followed one. Supermicro Computer, SMCI for short, I guess. CoreWeave, as you mentioned just a minute ago, Kay, Nebius, I think was one that's quite hot in the market at the moment. And that's it that I can really see. I mean, Applied Materials has kind of got a bit quieter in the last kind of year or so. At least in my opinion, of course. But yeah, that's kind of it for me. Anything else that's jumping off the screen for you, Kay?
Yeah, I think I'll be tracking Monday.com because I have leaps on Monday.
Oh, down here, yeah, on
Some
the
position.
left.
And it's very interesting because I don't know if you guys know, but Atlassian, ticker symbol TEAM, reported earnings last week. Stock jumped up 38% after earnings. So what does that
Mad.
show? It's showing that the SaaS names are starting to show more strength. Are we going to see more reactions like that, next week? I don't know, but that narrative is starting to change. Another piece of tidbit of information that I found on X, that the board of directors for Anthropic, they are talking to the CEO Dario to not make statements where AI is the doom and gloom, is gonna stop everything, like everybody's gonna lose their job, because I think Dario has been making these comments across different interviews. So why is that very important? Because the SaaS stocks all got hit because of Anthropic coming out and making these comments that, hey, softwares are just useless. You can just wipe code everything. Even though folks knew this is just BS, that's not going to happen. But again, market doesn't care, right? Market got that news and it reacted. And that's why most of these SaaS companies started to show, weaknesses, and they were like down 50, 60, 80%. Now, if they're going to change that narrative, because if they're going to IPO and everybody's going to lose their job, then who's going to buy the stock, right? So they are trying to change that narrative on the Anthropic side for preparing for that IPO. So that is actually good news for the SaaS industry.
Yeah, no, I think that's true. I mean, we've got in your pick today is now as well, so it's kind of loosely related. So I'm sure we'll hear a bit more about that later on.
So we got a comment. I think pretty long name, but I'm just gonna address that. No, we are not saying Strait of Hormuz isn't opening tomorrow, right? We are not saying that. All we are saying
No,
is
we never said that.
it's you don't really need the event to actually happen for the stock to move or the market to move. All we're saying is, do you get a comment from the administration that, hey, we are probably going to solve this in the next week or two? That's all you need. You just need that news headline for the stock market to move. That's it. That's all we are saying.
That's all you need. With that, we'll move on to the next slide here. We've got the SPY weekly chart as always. One quick comment before we jump into the chart fully. We've got Nebius before open is huge. When was that? Wednesday? That was Wednesday, wasn't it?
I think so, but I think CoreWeave reports Tuesday at the end of the market close.
Another AI-filled week, as always. But yeah, going back to the chart then for SPY weekly, I've actually added in a small window at the top left there of the daily chart. It's not marked daily on there, but I'm just telling you that's what it is. I thought it was interesting because, as I mentioned, kind of throughout the opening part there, obviously we had a very interesting beginning to the week. We had Monday, which is this bar here. Then Tuesday was a really nice bar as well, gap up and go. This gap will get filled eventually, of course, as most gaps do, and it's obviously quite a tight area. But then we followed with Wednesday, Thursday's a bit of negative price action, but not too bad, but maybe just calming down a little bit, catching up those smaller time frame moving averages, like the hourly, possibly the 2 hourly, 4 hourly, probably not quite there yet. But yeah, just giving those moving averages to kind of give time to kind of continue pushing on. Now, of course, if we are on this trajectory, there's a bit of momentum within the market, especially with the bigger names like Apple and stuff not doing too badly either. Obviously, you've got your kind of downturners. You've got Meta and Google not doing so great as well. But the main ones like Apple, Amazon, who else is doing quite well? Okay, Nvidia's doing all right, aren't they? Yeah,
Nvidia did very well last week.
Well.
Yeah,
so they will be pushing up. They'll be pushing up this market as well. So I think that 800 target that we've had on the stream now for about 3 months, I'd say, maybe slightly more actually. That 800 mark could well be hit in the next month or so. It's not me telling you it is, but just with the momentum and the kind of the way that the news is kind of forming, it feels a lot like that's going to happen. Now, of course, at 800 is a completely different story. What happens then, definitely, especially the time frame, if it gets to November and that kind of thing, war, etc., is always a consideration when we're looking at these charts. But yeah, it's a very frothy market, and when the trend is up, the trend is your friend, isn't it? You have to keep managing those positions, and I think just managing individual positions should be all that we're doing now. Starting them is very tricky, and there's no reason why you can't start them here and there. I've got one coming up in the next slide. So I'll talk you through that as well. Kaye, I've spoken long enough. I'm just going to stop rambling now.
I think you have covered it very well, and I think we have covered the general aspect of the market, which of course is depicted by SPY and QQQ, right? So there's nothing specific I want to say. All I have to say, we definitely are targeting 800, but that entirely depends on how we close this chapter with US Iran.
Exactly right. Awesome. We've got another one there as well, ON and Oracle. So we've got quite a few tickers today. Means we'll probably be going through them slightly quicker than we have been in recent weeks, which is exciting. We always like to do a bit of a quick fire round, don't we? We'll move on now to the past performance. And Kaye, I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on, but that's now 9 weeks in a row that I've
crazy,
won.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a loose competition, of course. As we say every week, they're not picks for the week, they're more picks for, you see in the session today, you'll see that we're looking for these picks beyond just 1 week, 2 months, 6 months, even a year plus sometimes. But yeah, just a little bit of light-hearted competition. I've taken the week again. It's 9 in a row. I don't think you're going to win this year. I'll be honest. I'm putting it out there.
You never know.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
if you
never
can,
know.
if you can do 9 weeks, maybe I can do 9 weeks. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. You have to
You
stick
did
around
it
week
last
after
year as
week.
well. So, I mean, I don't, I mean, I mean, I did pretty well in the beginning. It felt like, we were neck to neck, but now last 9 weeks I've been bad, man.
Yeah, it's been tricky. Stick around on 1 p.m. on Sundays. Obviously, this is our normal time slot, of course. So stick around to see how we do get going into the second part of the year, or the last part of the year, should we say. Where can we find you, Kaye? I know you've got lots going on at the moment.
Yeah, so you can find me on Substack. That is my primary, channel these days. Of course, on YouTube you can find all the trading videos that we do and some investing as well. But the if you really want to follow, day to day, it's on X and Substack. Today, I think we are. I'm doing an AI series, so just to understand the entire AI stack. So as I'm researching, I'm writing that as well. So today's article was focused on Arista networks. So if you are interested in that, go ahead and check it out, and it's free to subscribe.
Awesome. Moving over to me then, you can find me on X. I post there fairly regularly, but not in a swampy way like I used to. I used to post so much stuff, but now I've kind of whittled it down a little bit. And of course, on YouTube as well, all sorts of trading videos over there, whether it be psychology, setup, strategies, just chart-based stuff as well, all on there. And I've released a video yesterday. It's platform specific, but if you use that platform, then it's great. I've got a couple of swing trades set up with that video. So yeah, we'll move on then to the next slide. It's my pick of the week, which is QCOM, Qualcomm. QCOM, the ticker symbol, QCOM. Well, I don't know what happened to my brain there, but but we're on the 2-day chart. And the reason I did this is because the 1-day chart, it just felt really small and you just couldn't really see much. So I switched it to a 2-day chart. Basically, I want to emphasize the volume shelf on the right side. So let me bring you over to there with the cursor. You can see, obviously, the line here. We've pushed off of this 155 level, which is here. And I really liked that, so I entered it on Friday. And we pushed out of the trend line. Now, typically, I enter one position kind of going out of the trend line, and when it comes back down to retest, it's kind of like a hybrid of what I used to do. But when it comes back down for retest, if it comes back down for retest, I'll then enter another half of the position, and of course that will come down to the volume profile as a bit of support there. At least that's how I'm thinking it. But the real test for me is 174. You can see I've got a bit of a blue line here. If we can get through 174 in the next couple of weeks, shall we say, then that'll be really, really exciting, because I think we can make a really quick push to 200. You know how these stocks move, Kay. They're very exciting, They're very volatile, very fast, and especially with the industry that they're in as well, seems to be a bit of a theme of the year. But yeah, we can get that push to 200, and that'll be my first kind of take profit. I would normally take the whole position, but I kind of really want 220. It's just got a bit more to it up there. You've got lots of price action, as you can see. It did form a bit of a head and shoulders at that point, which you can kind of see as well. So it'd be kind of getting back up to those shoulders. I just think it's a bit more of a cemented thing. But there's no harm in, I suppose I could leave it. If it got to 200 and it's looking good, I can leave it to 220, and that's my ultimate target profit. But I'll see how the market feels at the time. It's all about risk management, obviously, in this market as well, as we said at the top of the show. But yeah, what are your thoughts on QCOM at the moment? Obviously, you're a bit more in terms of the kind of fundamental side of the company, really, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I was actually I was in this trade, not the last week, the previous week. And it was actually the post earnings, and surprisingly, I didn't get assigned. I had a C. I had two contracts on CSP open for Qualcomm at 150, but we ended the week over 150, so I didn't get assigned. So that trade went well. Especially, I was playing for the earnings specifically. So that worked out well. And Qualcomm is something that, even though I don't have like in my long term portfolio, I do have Qualcomm as a trade on a regular basis. I just don't like own the stock outright of the commons.
Yeah. No, exciting stuff. I do like a trend line breakout, as you know, and obviously probably most of the viewers that are here now, they probably know that as well. So just really like that, and of course with the industry it's in, just kind of makes sense. You see my stop loss there, it's 140. Now currently it's sitting, just one last thing before we move on. It's currently sitting just under 3 to 1, I think,
Yeah.
which is typically what I aim for. I aim for 3 to 4 to 1 swing trades. Of course, if we get another good couple of days, maybe up to Wednesday, Thursday, I'll move that stop loss up to 150 below these two kind of big candles here. Obviously, this is the 2-day chart as well, so it would technically be 4 candles. move the stop loss up there, then it already becomes a 5 to 6 to 1 trade. So the ratios swing there for me. It's just I like to have a bit of a bigger
Let me
stop
ask you a
loss. Yeah,
question here. Do you
yeah.
always take 3-1, or you can also take a trade with just 2-1, or is it 3-1 is a default?
2 to 1 I'm happy with, but 3 to 1 is something I aim for in terms of my kind of targets within a trader. Basically, I feel like that's my kind of success rate, and I feel like that will kind of make me more money in the long term.
Makes
But there's no harm in starting it. So to your point, actually, there really obviously there's no harm in starting at 2 to 1. If you feel like the stock can move nicely upwards, then you can bring that stop loss up pretty quickly, and then it automatically goes to 4 to 5 to 1.
I see.
Which is what I'm talking about here. But yeah, that's Qualcomm. That's my pick of the week. We'll move on now to Kaye's pick of the week, which is ServiceNow.
Yeah.
You've had this a few times this year, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, so ServiceNow, if you want to know the thesis behind ServiceNow, I would recommend go check out my Substack. We have been running this thesis since I think May. Well, the only reason that I brought ServiceNow here, because it's getting interesting now after this. We had this run up and we are pull back. Couple things to note. First, you see that this yellow line, or the yellow line, is a 200 SMA, right? We ended the week above that. That's a great sign, because 200, breaking the 200 is a very, very difficult task, especially for stocks, considering it's a long term moving average. Of course, the one above is a 300, which again is going to be a difficult task, but that's fine. That's next point. From here, if we continue the uptrend and we aim for that gap, that's about a 35% upside potential. And the point that is what I'm trying to make is there, and I talked about the Anthropic piece a little bit earlier, right? And then we also talked about Atlassian's show on how the SaaS narrative is starting to shift. And these are the things that you have to catch as things are progressing, because we have been in service now from a very long time now. So we already have an established position. So now we're just waiting for the run up to happen. And it is very important that you identify these when things are happening, because what's going to happen is stock will run, and on X everybody will suddenly become ServiceNow expert. But the point is that you should have been looking at two earnings before on how things are going to change, because we talked about it. You can't replace these software companies in an enterprise setting. Just because Shaun can wipe code doesn't mean that Shaun's vibe coding software is going to be enterprise wide applicable. So all I'm saying is this is getting very interesting, this particular stock. And I think the first uh, swing trade that we are doing is aiming for that gap fill. Now, it could happen this month, it could happen 6 months from now. We don't know, but that's the game plan.
So what's your kind of target time frame for this? I know you just said it could happen whenever, but do you have a kind of time in mind?
Yes. So if we follow the last two earnings, the not this previous earning, the one before, they launched something called AI Control Tower, and they said, "Hey, if you are going to build these agents, everything is going to be part of it." And I'll get to the answer to that question. So this earning was our proof gate to check what they are telling us. Is that even happening this earnings? Like, were they able to sell this concept to the enterprise, and is enterprise actually biting this? And with this earnings, they absolutely are biting, which means that in the next 1 to 2 earnings, this is going to be a very lucrative business for ServiceNow. ServiceNow is, and because they are now managing the agentic layer or agentic bots, they are also getting into cybersecurity. What does it tell you? It tells you that now these companies like Salesforce, ServiceNow, Palo Alto, all these bigger companies, they're just expanding their services and products across the ecosystem. So you buy one product and it takes care of multiple verticals for you. So you don't need to buy one software to do this, second software to do this, and then you have this intelligent layer of LLMs, whether it's whatever, Anthropic, OpenAI, whatever, right? Open source. So that is how the enterprise is going to move. This is not a consumer product. This is a enterprise facing products. So you need to understand how they work. I think ServiceNow's earnings were phenomenal. If you want to see what they did, go ahead and read my notes on the Substack. But I'm telling you, this is going to be the trade for the year for me on ServiceNow.
I think just looking at this price action, it just reminded me of Snowflake actually.
Yeah.
Especially from the time where I thought we were doing, well, I don't know when it was, it might be the beginning of the year, we were doing some TA on it. It was kind of barcoding a bit like this. It's not quite barcoding, but you know what I mean? It's kind of going up and down within a range. And then all of a sudden it just exploded.
Exactly.
And that kind of coupled with a trend line as well. So technical kind of came into it as well, which kind of works really nicely. But I'm just wonder if something similar could happen to now. And you mentioned earlier on in that section there about how it can quickly get taken with a bit of hype in X and stuff like that. And now it's not an unknown ticker. It's definitely
No,
within the
it's
industry. It's very well known.
very well known. They have a lot of
Yeah.
customers. It's an established software. It's not, and it is not like it's not like a one. So if you look at Monday.com, it's a very niche kind of a software. It's not an enterprise grade, even though enterprise uses it. It's not an enterprise grade software that it's a must. But for ServiceNow, it's a different case. It's a must. Companies own ServiceNow for a reason, right? Especially enterprise. I'm not talking about SMB. I'm talking about large enterprises.
So the stars are aligning for
Yeah, I mean,
ServiceNow. It's
listen, Atlassian just showed you last week.
exactly.
The stock moved 40% post earnings. The stock was in gutters 2 earnings back. It was, I think, under $80, $90. So
no, I think it's definitely a name for people to keep an eye on. Obviously, we've got a couple of peaks here as well. So if you drew a line through these two peaks, you'd probably get something around this sort of area. So it kind of aligns with the gap fill as well. Depending obviously the time period, it could happen in what's that, kind of October, mid-October, potentially 169. But yeah, just be careful with these stocks. Of course, they are very, very volatile. We have seen a move from basically under $100 up to 125, which is well over 20% in the space of 3 weeks. So just be careful with these stocks. Don't pile into them, of course.
I don't know if I answered the time frame based on our original thesis is Jan 2028 is what we are targeting, right? So we have enough quarters to play.
Of course, yeah. And there's that leaps options, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. So you want to kind of sell them 3 or 4 months out before the expiry date. Okay, sweet. Awesome. I think we covered ServiceNow really well there. It's really exciting. Let me know in the comments, or let us know, should I say? Let us know in the comments if you like ServiceNow as well, if you've got a position or if you want to start a position. We'd love to hear your thoughts on ServiceNow. I'm sure a lot of people would take a lot of value in that as well. Okay, let's move into the stock ticker requests.
Yep.
Quite a few to go through in half an hour.
Yeah, so we'll have to move. We won't be able to give full commentary on every stock. So
we do pretty good though. We do pretty well, don't we?
Yeah, 30 minutes. We can pull it off.
Yeah. How many have we got?
Dude, 1, 2, 14.
14. That's plenty. That's 2 minutes a ticker. Not too bad.
Not bad, right?
What's first?
Datadog.
This is your ticker. This one.
I mean, listen. Datadog. I mean, I'm telling you, man. These SaaS names are going to. There's going to be there's a revival on these companies. Now, again, I think they reported earnings last week, and it was what happened. Yes, 8.6 they reported earnings, and both were a beat.
Not so good.
So I think the issue that they're pointing out, the analyst highlighted slight deceleration, but also see buying opportunities. So I think these are. I mean, I'm not going to judge the company or Datadog from just one earnings per se. I think if you believe in the long-term thesis of Datadog, then you should use these drops as an opportunity to continue to build your position. Now, personally, for me, the most interesting place that I want to add Datadog or get into the position is around the 200-day and 300-day SMA, which is the 159, 169, which is also that gap. So I'm targeting that gap. Exactly. If I want to, get into the position, that's the target for me. Now, I'm glad that they actually dropped because they were actually continuing to go rip higher. So this is a good opportunity to wait. If you have not, got into this position, or you have not started the position, that's the place where I would first aim for it because there is no volume there. It could drop further, but I think that's going to be our first test for the support. That's pretty much it from my side.
Awesome. Yeah, I think for me, 199 will be a bit of a test as well. It's previous resistance in the past, which you probably noticed as I was kind of floating through the charts there. 2021, and big resistance in the end of 2025. So I know you spoke about 150 to 160-ish, but I think 199 will be tricky to get through as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Next is CBRS.
Yeah, we touched on this one a few weeks ago with
Yeah, but I forgot what they
Man
do.
Ram. They seem to have kind of rounded off a little bit, which is good.
I mean, they were up 7% on Friday.
Yeah, it moves very fast, this stuff,
Yeah, I mean,
percentage wise. I mean, it looks like it's kind of trying to break out of this range, which is nice. Actually, I've just seen something else. Looks like it's trying to.
oh, CrowdStrike partnered with this company to speed AI-powered cybersecurity.
Oh, this is textbook trendline breakout. So I'll get rid of this square, but basically the stock has obviously broken out of this trendline. Come back down, retested it. Entry was here. There's not so much there anymore. You could enter on the break of this candle as well. Secondary break. I wouldn't do that. It's not really my playbook, but I know people do it. Certain traders do it, especially with this volume profile on the right. And obviously targets will be up here. Targets is tricky on with this one because it's a fairly new stock, as you can see. There's not much data on the screen. But did you see any of that, or was it behind you?
No, I could see it. I could see it. Yeah.
Okay, good. That's good. But yeah, no, very good. Well done. Let's go. Let's move on.
Palantir.
This one
I
did
honestly,
really well after earnings, didn't it?
yeah, and I honestly don't know if, like, if we are the right channel to talk about Palantir. I think there are more channels, other channels that they talk about Palantir day in and day out. I mean, their TA is like really intense. That's what I'll say. I generally watch them on their TA for Palantir. But personally, for me, I think breaking above the 200, that gives you a very good support level. It has created some gap, a little bit of a gap. So in at some point you would want to see filling those gaps, especially for the continued move up. Is it going to happen right away? We don't know. There is resistance at 181. There's a lot of trading that happened at those levels. Um, but again, going back to the same point, you need the entire industry, SaaS industry, to move with you.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a good start with a big name like this. I mean, it's one of the highest in the SaaS industry, so there's no reason why this can't be a catalyst
Exactly.
for other tickers. Yeah, I think really nice. You mentioned the 200 moving average there, which is the kind of black line flowing through the screen. Acted as resistance once, twice, and three times. Broke through with the earnings, of course, as you mentioned. Come back down, retested it, and
Exactly.
then off it goes. Probably heading towards 200, but of course, you did mention the 180 line first, and that's completely plausible because you've got all this volume here. But yeah, if you're in it, fantastic. I probably wouldn't be getting into this now, just because it's a bit too extended on the short term side of things. So yeah, I'll just stay away from it for now. But if you're in it, just ride the wave and manage it to your specification. Okay, move on.
Tesla. So
Tesla, wow,
Tesla, and then we'll cover SpaceX because they are both hand in hand going together nowadays.
cool. Tesla, I've not looked at this chart for a few weeks actually, or since the earnings. Was that 2 weeks? Yeah, 3 weeks.
Yes,
Still struggling down here, isn't it, Kaye?
it is struggling, and I do believe, I think, yes, last week we had this news come out that Elon Musk is now looking to build TerraFab. It's going to be like a massive structure somewhere in Texas, close to the Gigafactory, and that is going to produce all the chips that Tesla and SpaceX needs. So it's going to be like a big city where a lot of people are going to live, and
I've
it's
heard
going to
about
be,
this actually. Yeah, I
yeah,
didn't realize it was called that, but yeah.
it's going to be an entire ecosystem basically. So, but again, great plan, and I think it is. And another news that came out was that SpaceX is finally going to be competing against Verizon's of the world, T-Mobile's of the world. Um, I mean, listen. How do I say this? Okay, so if you take the train from the city, New York City, and you travel to Connecticut or you travel to New Jersey, even with 5G, you have these dead spots with Verizons and T-Mobiles and all that. We can't even get 5G if I'm driving from here to the north, upstate New York. Like there are spots where there's no connection. So hopefully, if SpaceX can start to address those, uh, it's going to be great. I mean, it's
Yeah,
going to be
big
another
market for that.
competitor. I don't know if they're going to replace Verizon's and AT&Ts of the world, but if as long as I mean their product can be a serious competition to that, hey, it's better for consumers. More competition is better for us.
Awesome. On a technical level, I think coming back down to 280, 290, this area would be really nice. This is the weekly chart we're looking at now. This is the 200 moving average for the weekly. And of course, we do have a trend line here as well, floating in just around there. The only thing I would like is a bit more volume on the right. We do have a bit of a kick up, which is nice. But the real volume is starting down here at 250. And I know a lot of people are kind of calling for 250.
Yeah.
But there's no harm in kind of nibbling at 280. Have a nice tight stop loss. If it breaks, it breaks. And then obviously have a look at 250 if that was the case to continue. Okay, let's move on.
SpaceX. I think
Oh yeah,
SpaceX. You
SpaceX.
just entered, so I think you are the best person to talk about SpaceX right now.
I only entered because just kind of followed the
I mean, that's a massive
trend, the momentum.
That's a massive
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah. I
god.
mean, I can't remember where I entered, but it was somewhere kind of at the beginning of the day. I thought, okay, it's up 9%. Obviously, crazy for me to kind of enter anything that's up 9% on the day. But obviously, I heard the short float was 25%, and I thought, okay, this could probably go. It's a big name. It's been going down for over a month now, actually, since the inception of it, of course. And there's no reason why I can't take a small position. I'm allowed to do that. So I took a very small position. Stop loss is down below the candle. So it could come back to bite me in the arse. It's not the end of the world. It's not my big trade. It's not anything special. But obviously, target for me is this big bout of volume, which is about 160, something like that. I'll probably just take the whole position there, keep it nice and short, made some good money there, and then move on. But of course, it needs to get there first. It's under $30, but to be honest, we moved just under $20 on one day. So we could have this by the end of the week, hypothetically, of course. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but hypothetically, we could have that by the end of the week. We'll see. Yeah, it's exciting. Are you interested in SpaceX at all? I know you said it, I think it was last week or week before, you said you were thinking about it.
So I did open a CSP, but I was very conservative. So I'm targeting like 98, 99, $100 CSPs. So what that does is I get the premium because of the high IV, but I'm also hedging myself just in case it pulls back. Now I did get, if you remember, I talked about getting assigned the IPO shares. I had like 8 or 9 shares I had, which I got assigned. I was surprised. I took profit at 60%, and I was like, I'm out. So I think it ran up to 218 to something, and I sold at 213. So I was happy.
And that's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, assigned at 125, sold at 213. Great. Moved on.
There's no harm in taking profits. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on.
All right. Next is Coin.
Coinbase. This is the stock I do not like. Been burnt by it a few times.
I mean, and people are not talking about Coin as much as because of just the way the crypto market is performing. I think it will have its own time. I don't know if this is the time. I like the Bitcoins of the world and the Ethereums of the world have to, really rally. Otherwise, these stocks are just going to be, in this up and down scenario.
It's a tricky one to chart, really. And of course, we've got this massive support that we've got here on the screen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches at the very least. It's a weekly chart that we're looking at now. So 6 touches there. If we can find a bit of support, great, bounce off of that. But again, this is the weekly chart as mentioned. This is 200 moving average. We're now under that.
Yeah.
We're drifting off of it as well. So it's going to be tricky to get through that.
And it's going to be exactly. You said it's tricky. And I think for it to really break that, you need momentum with Bitcoin.
As it well, yeah. More
Right?
than anything.
Crypto
More than
market
anything,
has
yeah.
to be back.
Just hopping into the daily here before we move on to the next stock. This is the 50 moving average as well, which is kind of struggling to get through. So yeah, all eyes on this level of about, what's that, kind of let's say 140 to 145, that sort of area. If we break 140, let's say, then perhaps we can get a bit ugly and kind of move down towards 120, 110 by the looks of it, as you can see over here on the left, which you can't see because that's not on the screen. There you go. Keep
No.
forgetting we're on the screen. Awesome. Okay, coin done.
Snowflake, snow.
I like snowflake.
Yeah, I
It's,
mean, listen, it had a very amazing run on the week, and that broke that trend line. That's amazing.
it's always really impressive when a stock. So when a stock is an upward channel, and then it breaks the upward channel to the upside. I mean, that just shows strength right there, and you can see it on the screen. This is a weekly chart we've got up. It's a weekly channel that's gone basically since late 2022. So this
That's
could really mean something.
again,
Yeah,
that's what I'm telling you, right? If all these names are going to move, and then that changes the narrative on the SaaS, some of those names that are like underperforming, man, they will run.
exactly. And this is not us telling you to buy these stocks. Of course, these stocks are quite extended. Let's have a look at the RSI for Snowflake. RSI is sitting handsomely at 79, so it's quite high. It's not the highest it's been. Of course, you can see over here it's 88, which is really high. And of course, the stochastics is quite high as well in terms of turning over. So you could see a bit of a pullback in the coming days, and I think that would be perfectly natural for the stock, and if not, probably good for it. The pink line you see on the screen there is actually earnings, so just around the corner, a couple of weeks' time. So yeah, running into earnings and see what happens after that. So it could get even better for Snowflake holders. Who knows?
Exactly.
But yeah, exciting stuff. What's next?
Next is iron. Now, I'm telling you, I think iron.
This is your stock.
It's
Oh,
dude. I'm telling you, this stock I feel like is waiting to like run. But again, that depends on Nebius, that depends on CoreWeave as when they report earnings, right? We do not want to see any indication that there is slowdown in the build out for AI. There should be no narrative on that. Because if you get that narrative again, we are back. It's not going to break. But I think this $45 level for iron is very, very important. This resistance has been there since uh, February of this year. And just the sheer number of times, it from this level it has been rejected is crazy. So I think from my perspective, 45 is the key because then you also have the 200-day coming around the 47. And if we can have a good earnings from CoreWeave and Nebius, I think Iron will report sometime later, right? Let me see when they report.
they report on estimated 16th of September.
So much further. So next month. So about like
Yeah.
4 weeks, 5 weeks from now. But this stock can run. If those guys report great earnings, I mean this could run. This is setting up for a breakout. I will tell you. It's touching that 45 multiple times. And then you know what happens is like, and you know that this is the best, right? When you start touching, hitting a line, a resistance or a support, at some point there is a breakout to the upside or the downside, right? Something is going
Yeah,
to
I mean,
happen soon.
the analogy that is quite often used within obviously the trading world is obviously you bang on the door enough times, it's going to fall over.
Yeah.
Unless it's a security door, then but that's a different question. But yeah, no, exciting stuff for iron for sure. I had this position on the screen here because I think we brought this up 2 or 3 weeks ago. I never went through with it. So before you tell me, oh, you must be making loads of money with this. No, I never went through with it. But you can just see the thesis that we had on that particular session. Obviously, this was a support level, as we can see, support zone. The entry was kind of guided around 34-ish. Stop loss nice and big. And it seems to be moving in the right direction, of course, but of course, I haven't taken it. In terms of a second entry, I would probably suggest, as Kaye mentioned, breaking 45, come back down, retest 45, and then making that move to kind of 70. That's more than enough percentage gains that I want to make. I'm not worried about it now. I'm not going to chase it now. It's not the way I trade. But we have all been there. In the early
Yeah,
days, we all used to chase, didn't we?
you
So,
want the confirmation, right? Because there are many times
yeah,
that
of
has
course.
happened. We don't know how many times it will need to bang the door before it breaks.
Yeah,
It
and
could
I'm
take
sure
5
everyone watching now is always has gone in early and thinking, oh, this is definitely going to move, and then get bitten back because they haven't waited, they haven't sat on their hands, haven't been patient. So just be just be aware of that if you are doing.
All right,
Awesome.
let's move on to Hood. We got a couple more from Money Manage, so we will add that as well.
Oh, we'll definitely stay for money manage, of course. Right, Robin Hood.
All right.
I don't even know where to start. What have I drawn here?
Let me see if
So
there's any specific news for Robinhood.
breakout retest moved up, which is nice. Currently, it came back down because we had a bit of resistance here at 116. I always like to look at my charts like this because you can kind of see how it played out after the potential move that I had.
I got some
Come back
news for you
down.
on. I got some news for you on the Hood. So
Yeah, far away.
Robinhood gets the regulatory approval to offer crypto services in UK. Shares are up.
Ah, not sure that would really change it too much, though, would it?
Just goes
That's
to show
good.
the sheer ecosystem Robinhood is making, right?
Mm,
And how they are spreading across international boundaries. If Robinhood starts to get into these markets like this, you get in UK, then eventually you get into France, Germany, slowly you get into Asia. It's a it's a massive business.
absolutely. Yeah, the TAM is huge for Hood. Okay, we're kind of sitting at this trend line then for the upside. Seems to have held in the last couple of weeks, which is nice, especially with the earnings that happened on the 29th of July. Looks like it was a beat. So I've got a green shield down here. You can kind of see it there on the screen. Looks like it was a beat, which is good. If we can make a move higher, then maybe come up towards these most recent highs. This is not a bad little entry point because you've got a bit of a stop loss down here as well, below this most recent low. I'd have to do a bit more research into how they did in the earnings, etc. But for example, you go there, target up to here first. That's 2 to 1, as we spoke about earlier. Okay. And then up to obviously here, which is the second most recent high, which again is a 3 to 4 to 1. That's something that I would aim for sure. In fact, I'm going to put this down on my list to have a look at tonight.
Beautiful.
Thank you, whoever that was. 50-50. Right, that's next.
Next is your friend SoFi.
So far, I don't have much to say on this because it's still just kind of playing out the move. Let's switch to the weekly because I like the weekly a bit more. As you can see on the screen, I bought January 2028 leaps, $15 leaps on the 11th of May. They seem to be going pretty well. They're green, so that's good. That's always good. The move I want is $30 before the end of August next year, essentially. So hopefully we get that, and then hopefully I can take some profits. Any word on SoFi?
No, I think playing leaps is a good idea, and what I would just caution you with leaps, and this is for the audience as well, is you need to also have an exit plan. Exit plan could be you can sell the leaps or you can roll the leaps. But bottom
Yeah,
line is you need to have a plan, because what ends up happening is when you're looking the last 3 months of the expiration, you start to lose a lot of value because of theta. So keep that in mind as you use leaps.
awesome.
All right. Next up is CEG. I know we have checked this before, but I forgot what it does.
Before
Oh,
we do that,
Constellation. Yes.
we've got a comment here from Ramesh, also SpaceX. I can't remember how long ago that comment was. I forgot to scroll down, so they weren't coming through live. But we did SpaceX not so long ago. And same to you, Dave, as well. We did Tesla about 10 minutes ago as well. So just rewind after the stream's finished. Of course, you can catch us on YouTube. That might be a perfect segue. You can catch us on YouTube here on Trading Weekly, as you can see at Trading Weekly on YouTube. You'll see all our live streams there. You can go back, have a look at them all, laugh at them, whatever you want to do with them. Yeah, awesome. What did you say it was? Kaye, next one?
CEG, Constellation Energy.
CGE.
CEG.
CEG.
Yeah.
My apologies. We have had this before, I think.
Yes. A couple times we have had.
So I've got a line there, another line there. Oh, wow, look at this. Nice little trend line. This is the weekly chart. Oh, who brought this up? Someone knows me.
It was 50-50 as well.
Ah. This is not bad, is it? What are your immediate thoughts on this one?
It's looking interesting. Let me look at the fundamentals on here. So earnings, well, they missed on the EPS, and Missed on the revenue. Oh, that's not good. That is not good.
That's not ideal, is it?
No.
I mean, technically, it looks great. If we can get out of this trend line, then you can simply put a stop loss down just below the most recent price action. So hypothetically there, stop loss down here. You've got 2.6 trade, but of course you want it to break out first. Yeah, there's definitely potential there. I'll put it on my list. Why not? What's next? Okay.
After that is ON. Is it ON or ON?
That's a shoe company, isn't it? On.
On.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes.
Yeah. Cloud shoes.
I like their shoes. I do use their shoes for running. It's pretty good.
So we've come back down to the support level. We've kind of broke it in the kind of the smaller time frames by the looks of it. Come down to kind of 32. So maybe there's another bit of support there as well. Stick that on the chart. It's a tricky one.
Let me see.
It's a bit of a channel here that we're in.
So Ramesh brought this up, and so just the general industry. I think this consumer industry is a very tricky industry to be in,
It
and
is.
you can take an example of Lululemon, for example. Lululemon stock was trading around the 400, 300, 400 level, and since the decline, it has not been able to recover. Same thing is happening with Nike, and because these are discretionary products, I mean, this is part of discretionary spending, right? So if your interest rate, if your inflation rate is up, if we keep hearing people are losing jobs because of AI, all that narrative, it has an impact on these kind of names much more intensely as compared to some of these enterprise names. So that is to be, so if you're investing in this, trading is a different ball game, right? Because you can get in and out. This is a could be an ideal day trade or a swing trade. But if you're investing in these companies, you have to be really, like, dude, Nike has not recovered in like 2 years, or, right?
Yeah.
So
No, I'm
yeah.
with you. I think investing in these companies is always tricky. I think there's definitely more opportunity elsewhere in the market for sure, especially in the AI industry. But if you're trading it, like you're saying, there's a potential trade here on the screen. If you can jump out of this parallel channel to the upside, of course. You've also got the support of a trend line down here. So the more, if it does break out and the more it kind of stays above that, the more you can just bring your stop loss up and then you have a break even trade. Yeah, I don't hate it. It's nice. I'm not going to put it on my list. It's not really something I trade, but thank you very
Yeah,
much
no,
for
I
brought
think
that up.
so. One other thing that I would like to add is saying is like, if the market is going towards AI trades and AI trade is the theme of the year, you just follow the market theme. There's no point
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
trading something else where there's not much attention, right? When the time will come, you will get the opportunity. Anyways, moving on to Oracle. Now this one is a good one. This
Take
is,
it away, Kaye. This is your stock.
I mean, it's not really my stock, but
You have covered it before, though, haven't you?
yes. And our Michael Burry seems like has opened a short on Oracle.
Yeah, I saw that actually. Yeah. And then what did it do? It went up.
It's like, I don't know. Is that a joke? Maybe he is running out of cash. That's why his Substack subscription is like crazy, like hundred
Do you know
dollars.
what? I was thinking though, he made so much money in 2008, right? He's probably just sitting on the interest payments and just tweaking for a laugh,
Exactly.
right? Surely.
Exactly.
Surely. I mean, how's no one read into that? I don't never follow Barry or whatever his name is
Yeah, Michael Burry.
properly. I
Yeah.
definitely not follow his positions, that's for sure, because they always look a bit strange. But I think he just says stuff for
I
for the
mean,
hell of
I'm
it,
not. Yeah, it's
right?
like, I mean, if you think about it, Kramer, whatever Kramer says, opposite happens, right? So that's why you have
Exactly.
the inverse Kramer
Yeah.
ETF. Or, I think it's a pretty interesting spot, right? The stock is trading at its point of control, where it's like at the midpoint. I don't. I mean, you need a little bit more oomph, right? Because you have the 200 and 300-day, curling above. So it will need some more momentum. But again, the momentum can be provided with a couple of data center names that are going to be reporting earnings. And if the broader market in generally starts to pick up along with the SaaS names, I see Oracle going back above the 200, the 300, which is a decent return. Let me see.
Yeah, I mean the 200 set at 180, isn't it? So
It's 21% at 200, and 300 is almost 40%, 38%.
that's impressive. I like the 136 line we've got here. Obviously, it acted as support quite a lot. We dipped down there recently, come back up above it, and then kind of retested it ish on Thursday. So that's a good starting point. Like you said, I want to see more heading into these moving averages for sure. But there's definitely better names I'm looking at in the market at the moment. But there's nothing to maybe keep a keen eye in the distance for
Yeah,
Oracle.
yeah. I mean, I do track Oracle. I just don't trade Oracle often. Anyways,
Yeah.
moving on to HIMS.
Hims recovering the trend line really nicely recently as well. Stuck around the 200 and the 200 and the 50. Oh my god, I can't stop. The moving averages stuck around the moving averages. You can see on the screen. Um, Finding a bit of support there, which is nice. It would need to break out of this very short-term trend line, which is entirely possible.
They are
And
not.
then we're kind of
They are not. They already reported earnings, or they're reporting earnings next week.
they are reporting earnings tomorrow, I think. Yeah,
Oh,
so
oh.
watch out for that. I wouldn't be trading into that, of course. That's very tricky. Hims is a very volatile stock as it is, let alone around earnings. But if we were to break this trend line to the upside, and of course everything's all dandy, then of course the target is this next trend line up here around kind of 50, 54, which is a very, very nice return on your money for sure. Yeah, we'll move on.
Okay,
Quite
so
simple.
because we only have a couple minutes left, and we got requests for CoreWeave and CRM, so that's it, right? We will not take anything after that. That we'll end that. Okay.
Yeah, cool. We'll go over a bit. Not an issue. Yeah.
So next is RGTI. So CRM and CoreWeave, and we'll end at CoreWeave.
Rigetti. I remember this one. This one hurt me a lot. It didn't hurt me at all. I made money on it, but I could have made a lot more money on it. Yeah, quantum.
Yeah.
Quantum stocks. What are your feelings on quantum stocks, Kay?
I don't understand it enough to
Is it
have
too early?
too early for me. I know that on these stocks you can make money, but I just stay away. It's like I cannot operate in every single category, right? I would rather have more depth in one category, rather one vertical, than be in every single vertical. So this is not something that I actually follow much.
So from a purely technical point of view, then, as we're not too clued up on the stock or the industry, should
So
we
I think
say?
so from a technical standpoint, like
Oh,
200 and
let's see.
300 SMA are like at the top, right? So you have solid resistance that needs to break. Now, what is there any like catalyst coming up for this? I mean, can you believe this earnings they reported, they beat their revenue actual by $9,470.
Is that it?
That's it.
Yeah, we've got a big volume shelf here on the right. It's actually massive, and it's kind of pushing out from that, which I really like to see. Obviously, target would be 25, which is no mean feat. That is approximately 45% up higher. So there's definitely money to be made here.
They have
I like it, actually.
Wedbush has I think their commentary was that it showed progress. Um, but I think these names can also rally. When the general broader market rallies, these names can rally, and you can make decent amount of money. But I mean, if I wanted to trade, I would wait for the breakout, retest, and then get in.
Exactly. Right, let's move on.
Meta. Oh my god.
Well, really nice week for Meta, actually. Monday, especially, you can see kind of regained, filled the gap and some. Let me zoom in a bit so people can see. Yeah, filled the gap and some. It's kind of just travelled nicely within this range that has happened to be already on the screen, which is nice. where it is now, I'd still probably sit on my hands. I'd wait for the kind of larger time frame move. You can see the wedge I've got drawn on the screen there. I would just wait until it breaks down to the lower side or to the upper side and kind of play that. I might have to readjust my line slightly as well to accommodate this price action. Might do that separately a bit later on. But yeah, your thoughts on Meta, Kay?
So 580 to 630 is basically the range Meta has been, bouncing off. So if you actually sell wheel, right? If you actually sell options, this is a beautiful stock for this current, point in time. But we do want to see Meta staying above the 520, 530 range for it to reclaim, because the 200-day coming straight up is around the 630 mark. So we need that 630, and we need to have the 200 as acting as a support. Otherwise, this they're just bouncing from 580 to 620 and then back and forth.
So the ideal scenario really is try and somehow push up here, come back down, retest the trend line
Exactly.
and the 200 move average, and then move higher. Yeah.
Exactly.
So be patient. Be patient. I think for this one.
It's going to turn around. Like it's a max 7. It's going to turn around. It's just going to take we don't know when that's going to happen.
Exactly. Exciting though for Meta.
Yeah.
Opportunity there, isn't there?
Micron. This one, I will not lie. I actually am starting to get interested in Micron.
Not from a valuation standpoint, right?
No, not from a trading standpoint. From a trading standpoint,
Yeah.
because the reason is because the stock is so volatile and the IV is really very high. You do get a lot of premium. Now, I don't want to put. I cannot buy 100 shares because 87,000 I'm not going to put. But I can sell credit spreads, and I can still bank a decent amount of money on that if the trend plays. But I'm still doing more research on this one, a little bit more technical analysis, because I do want to play this much safer. So if I get into this credit spread for Micron, I will post it on X what the trade is going to be.
Awesome. And that is at Invest K, as you can see on the little block that he is showing himself there. I like the setup in such a way of a bull flag. So you can see price action moved up really nicely from March all the way up until January, not January, June, and obviously it's come back down since then, which is normal, it's natural. I like that. But if we can break up above this kind of bull flag, then there's no reason why this can't just go straight back to all-time highs. I know it's a bit of a stretch, it's a bit of a weird sentence, but I think that could definitely happen with this type of stock at the moment. Yeah, it's exciting.
So
Thank you, Money Manage.
Yeah. Next is CRM. Yeah.
This is definitely your stock as well.
Hey, it's part of the SaaS name, right? And
yeah,
I'm telling you, it's starting to show more resilience, starting to show some life. There's still a lot that it needs to go happen because you have the 200-day, 300-day coming. It needs to break that, and it needs to reclaim the 240, 245 level, right? For us to say we really have a breakout. But I'm lagging the trend on CRM. I don't personally follow the company as much, but I can see the it's part of the broader narrative for the SaaS. So this will be a play along with the SaaS names as they start moving together.
So I like this for, you can probably see on the screen already, it's a trend line that's kind of coming through. This is a weekly chart though. So you could easily target, I know you said 245, but even on the smaller, on the shorter term, you could easily target 230. This is the weekly one. We'll jump into the daily in a minute. But just a simple move like that can still benefit your trading account quite nicely if you manage to risk properly. Get a nice entry. It doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be right in terms of ratio, at least in my opinion, of course. But yeah, I think jumping into the daily then, and see if we are to break out of that trend line, come back down and retest the volume profile and perhaps the trend line as well. Stop loss, you could even go below these candles, but I would probably go a little bit bigger below these candles because then you've still got a nice 2-to-1 trade. So yeah, nice little
That's not bad, right? That's pretty
trade there for
pretty decent.
CRM. Yeah. And decent volume on a stock like this as well. So
Yeah, I mean, listen, end of the day, you have this group of 4 or 5 stocks in the SaaS that are big names, right? You have CRM, you have ServiceNow, you have Datadog, you have Snowflake. If you think about, these are the 4 stocks, 5 stocks that we have on the SaaS names that often come back and people want to talk about it. Last one is CoreWeave. They report earnings. Let me pull up what are they reporting. So it's going to be very interesting. They missed of course, the EPS because they're still not a profitable company. I think the biggest issue with CoreWeave compared to Nebius is the way they service their debt, because they do have to take a lot of debt for this. The interesting part is that the narrative is that Nvidia cannot let these companies fall, right? These neo clouds. So NVIDIA, they have NVIDIA's backing, all three of them, Iran, Nebius, CoreWeave, because the hyperscalers, they are known hyperscalers for a reason, right? They can spin things up and they are like eating into the business. And the problem with NVIDIA is that long term, if hyperscalers they start producing their TPUs, Google, and AWS, Amazon, and businesses start moving there, they start to control the ecosystem. So right now this is a fight for the ecosystem per se, and that's why I think NVIDIA's game plan is to keep these companies, make them where the neo cloud business builds out, the AI data centers. Yeah, what do you think about from a technical standpoint? I think
from a technical standpoint, I'm thinking it's kind of regained this trend line. It's come back down. It's retested it in a negative fashion. Obviously, come down, made lows of about $60, pushed up nicely back up to the trend line, kind of pushed back into the zone, come back down and retested that line as a support. So we're back in the zone. Essentially, we're back in this wedge. You could play a move from here to the top of the wedge, but I wouldn't with earnings just around the corner. So sit and wait for earnings first. But obviously, the bigger move would be a more concrete break to the downside of this wedge, or obviously a nice, exciting break to the upside for this wedge as well. That's what my thoughts are of CoreWeave. I put it on my list to keep an eye on, but I probably won't trade it until after earnings, which is Tuesday.
so. The couple weeks back, not four, maybe between 4 to 8 weeks back, there was this um, news event that the administration is going to add more companies into the fold, like Intel, and there was a lot of rumor on X that, hey, CoreWeave could be one of those AI companies that will be, and that's why the stock ran up. But since then, the things
Yeah.
things have, dialed down, and we haven't really heard anything on that. But something like that, if that happens, I mean, this stock will run.
100%. Yeah, not literally 100%. What it could do. But no, I think it was a really good session. We actually ran over 8 minutes there, 8 or 9 minutes, something like that. It's just a testament to all the stocks that you guys are bringing up, and it gives a bit more fuel for our excitement, really, for the week ahead, and hopefully yours as well as the viewer. Obviously, you're welcome, as Alan. No worries, of course. We get a few thank yous here and there. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in today. We'll be back next week, obviously 1 p.m. Eastern time as normal. Thank you very much once again to Wolf as well for actually the platform. We really appreciate it. Okay, well, I want you to say a few words to kind of take us into next week.
Well, I'm just hoping that our SaaS names really rebound. That's what I'm hoping for, right?
Oh,
After
yeah.
seeing Atlassian results, I'm getting hopeful. Palantir's result, I'm getting hopeful. So I think we need that for the broader market and broader run. And interesting. I mean, I'll be watching a lot of these data cloud earnings, Nebius and CoreWeave, because that also has an impact on Iron. So looking forward to it next week.
Yeah, big week. Stay safe, everyone. Trade safe, and we'll see you next week at 1 p.m. Eastern time in the normal places. Take care. See you later.